Hey guys, Brian Drury of Overcoming Graduation here to share with you the 3 steps to overcome the negative voices in your head. Now, whether it's taking on a new habit or going after a big goal or dream, at some point or another, the negative voices are going to come up. It's important to understand your brain thinks that it's protecting you. It looks at anything outside of this zone of comfort as danger, and it thinks, oh, well, trying that new thing or growing or pushing past this, that means danger. That's uncertain. So it tries to stop you. And if you want more detail on why the brain does that and how it works specifically and how to overcome it, you need to keep watching the videos that are coming in the following days. But for now, let's go into these 3 techniques. So first off, let's talk about why this is important. Why is it important to overcome fear? Why is it important to grow? And why is it important to have some urgency to it? Well, the thing is, Jesse Itzler tells a great story about this, where he says he had this realization that a part of him was going, okay, my parents are 70 and I'm 50, and an average person lives to be about 80. So if things go as average would, I've got 10 years left with them. But then when he really thought about it, he realized he only saw his parents twice a year. And what that really means is he only had 20 visits left. And that completely changed the way he spent his time when he was with his parents. He stopped spending all the time on his phone and being distracted and worrying about work. He was present because his values and his priorities shifted when he had a more clear picture of how time was being spent and how little time he had with the people he loved the most. And then also that realization helped him to reprioritize so that it wasn't just 20 visits, that he made more time for his family, and that he was able to enjoy that in such an incredible way because of the clarity of what time really meant. So when you look at the time in your life, you might go, well, I've got plenty of time to write that book. I got plenty of time to start the business. I got plenty of time to ask that person out. Here's the thing, guys. Time is our non-renewable resource. We don't get this back. Days pass, and I know especially now things can feel crazy, things can feel overwhelming and confusing, and it can feel like, well, what's the point? I'll do it later. I've got time. One of the best things that I could do in this video is to help you realize that time is not guaranteed. It's not a set amount. You don't have a guaranteed amount of time on the clock. It's so important to see because here's the thing, guys. If you recognize the urgency, then you start taking action and living with purpose versus just existing and hoping that one day the magic's going to show up. Now, you've had that realization. You go, okay, great, Brian. Cool. Time is limited. I'm much clearer on this. How do I overcome the fear, though? This is a question I get a lot. This is something that I work with my clients a lot. This is something I have worked with my coaches a lot on, is how do I overcome that when the fear shows up? So let's go into the 3 different steps that you can take to overcome your fear and take massive action towards your dreams and goals. Step 1 comes to you from Tim Ferriss, and this activity is called fear setting. And what this is, if you take a specific opportunity, a specific event, and you say, okay, what is the worst possible outcome? If I was to take this step, what is the worst possible situation that could happen? And let's say, for example, someone is in a corporate job and thinking about taking the leap into entrepreneurship. And they go, well, I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. And then they take this time, they do this fear setting activity, and they write out all the negative possible eventualities. My company goes under. I lose all my money. I move back in with my parents. I have to defer my loans. I can't do this. I can't do this. Well, then they go, okay, here's what the situation is. Here is the worst possible scenario. And by doing that, you're able to see, okay, what are the things in this list that I'm able to live with? They're really not as big of a deal. And when I didn't list them out, it just seemed like this huge, overwhelming problem. But now when I chunk it down into the smaller pieces, I can see, okay, some of these are pretty bearable. They wouldn't be that big of a deal. And honestly, to take the shot towards this incredible dream and have things maybe not work out, like it would be worth it. And here's the other side of it. When you do fear setting and you see the worst possible outcomes, you're able to better plan, strategize, mitigate the risk, or eliminate the risk. Where you go, okay, if I'm afraid of loan deferment, that I would have to worry about paying back my loans, well, you can go, okay, how long can I defer my loans? Am I able to? What would that look like? Is there any penalty? And then you can plan and strategize so that before making that move, you have a clear picture of the worst case scenario, and odds are it's not going to be the worst case scenario. So you've set up, you've planned, you've mitigated risk, and now you're able to take action with clarity. So the fear no longer can take hold. So number 1, fear setting is for a specific event, a specific decision. And let's go on to the next recommendation. Recommendation 2 is an activity called life authoring that comes from Jordan Peterson. And this is going to expand on what you did in activity 1. And essentially what this is imagine drawing a line down the middle of a sheet of paper And on one side, you're going to imagine and write out what your life would look like at 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years from now if all of your bad habits took over. Imagine all your good habits just disappeared. You stopped trying, you stopped working out, you stopped waking up early, you stopped eating healthy. And imagine all your worst habits took over. Your negative self-talk, you didn't take chances, you didn't take risks, you just existed and tried to keep going and didn't want to rock the boat. What would your life look like? Now, what this does is a couple powerful things. This helps you to see and intensify the discomfort associated with not making the changes that you want to in your life. Very often, it takes almost a breaking point for us to get to the point where we're ready to make a change, where many times for me, it's been weight gain. It's when I'm getting out of breath going up the stairs, or that I'm loosening the belt to the point where I can't even go another notch looser, and I'm like, something needs to change. So when it comes to listing out all the worst possible things that your worst behaviors took over, you start to see, oh my God, this is what 5 years would look like? Man, I need to start changing now. Otherwise, that's going to be my reality, because it's easy to get lost in the moment. Our mind even distorts the way we look at time, and it intensifies the instant gratification, and it distorts the value of the long-term work or the delayed gratification of the long-term fulfillment. So when you look and you're saying, man, I really want to work on my diet, my fitness, and right now your brain goes, that cake looks really good. And then the other part of your brain goes, hey, but really, you want to work on this. You want to be stronger and healthier for your family and your friends in the future. You want to be able to climb that mountain like you always talked about. And unless you have tools and techniques and you've done activities like this, your brain can very easily just go, yeah, but cake sounds better. But when you've done this activity and you do the second half, you can start to see what you want to move away from and what you want to move towards. So the second half of the activity, we're going to flip the script and we're going to do the exact opposite. For 1 year, 5 year, 10 years out, I had to get my other hand up. Imagine what would happen if all your best habits took over. If all your good habits suddenly took place, if the ones that you wanted, you were able to get in place, what would your life look like if you were getting up when you wanted to, you were working out, you were taking shots, you were started that business, you read that book, you did that physical activity, you asked that person on the date? What would your life look like 1 year, 5 year, and 10 years from now? Now, what this sets up is our move towards goals, because our move away from goals are only motivating to the point that we hit them. This is a concept they teach in NLP. So imagine someone says, I don't want to be fat anymore, or I just want to lose 10 pounds so I won't be fat. Well, when they reach 10 pounds lost, the goal is lost, it's over, it's gone. So now it's like, okay, now what? And a lot of people will unfortunately backslide. That's a move away from goal. If you have a move towards goal, all of a sudden you say, I want to be the type of person who never misses a workout. I want to be the type of person who regularly incorporates fitness and healthy eating into my day. And I want to be a person who's creating more energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. Well, now all of a sudden, when you reach little milestones within that goal, you're always working towards this bigger and better picture, and the motivation actually increases over time because you're building on this and you're taking steps up this ladder that you've created, this stairway, I guess is a better way to say it, that you've created for yourself, and you're moving forward in an exciting way. So life authoring is an incredibly powerful activity because it helps you get clear on the things that you want to remove from your life and avoid, and the things you really want to dive in on and take action on. So that is activity number 2. Let's move on to the final recommendation. Recommendation number 3 on how to overcome the negative voices in your head is going to start with something called the Goldilocks rule. Now, that's not the trick. This is just a little bonus. The Goldilocks rule says that human beings experience peak motivation when they are at the edge of their comfort zone, when they are at the edge of their ability, not when they're too far away from it or too far beyond it. Now, what this looks like and what this means is that if you really want to grow, you want to establish habits and you want to make changes, the best thing you can do is increase the level of difficulty incrementally over time to help set you up to build up the strength and resilience you need, or the knowledge and the know-how. And then you can build on that over time and expand, but you're not going too far too quick. You're not doing so little that there's zero motivation. So here's an example. Imagine you were working out, right? And you were doing 10 push-ups a day. If you said, okay, I'm doing 10 push-ups a day, and all of a sudden, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to do 5,000. Now, you've just gone way out of your comfort zone. Your brain is actually going to work against you there and say, there's no way, we don't know. And you're probably not physically at the point where you could do that. So you're pushing yourself out. You say, I failed. I don't want to do this. Maybe push-ups aren't for me. And it gets super negative. On the other hand, if you go, all right, I'm going to give myself a challenge. I've been doing 10 push-ups a day. Let's go to 11. Well, there's no excitement. There's no motivation. Your brain doesn't even get triggered because it goes, of course we can do that. That's easy. So imagine you said, well, you know what? Now I'm going to do 30 per day. Well, your brain goes, whoa, wait a sec. Okay. That's 3 times as much. Can we really do that? And then you test yourself, you push, you go beyond, you're like, holy, I can do this. This is amazing. So by taking those steps and doing it incrementally, and then 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks after that, now you're doing 100 a day and it's a whole different ball game. But the only way it started is by you taking the small incremental steps. So recommendation number 3 is called chunking. So any big goal, any big idea, any big thing you're working towards, any big metric you want to hit, it starts with the small steps and it starts with the daily action. Right now I'm going through a fitness challenge to do 3,000 pull-ups in 90 days. That's along with a bunch of other workouts, but for the sake of the video, well, let's just use that one. Now, I have never done 3,000 pull-ups in 90 days. Pull-ups, maybe I would do like once a week for 12 or 24 reps. And this to me was a huge stretch, but something I said I know I can build up to over time. And I do workouts 3 times a week for strength, and I do sets of 10 and 5. Over time, that has built up to, I'm already over 2,000 and well on pace to hit that 3,000 in those 90 days. Now, day to day, doing those 5 at a time, it seems like nothing. Doing 100 in a day or 50 in a day, it's like, man, how is this ever going to get me there? But by chunking down, by having a clear picture of what I want to achieve, breaking it apart into goals over time, and then understanding the time frame in which I need to do that, now I can chunk down daily activities to work me towards my goal. So when it comes to your goal, this helps to break apart the fear. Because if you said, Brian, you need to do 3,000 pull-ups tomorrow, I'd be like, there's no way. I got work, I got this, my body, I can't do that. But if you say, Brian, here's a goal, make it happen. Well, let's chunk it down. Let's see what we can do. Let's put a time frame that pushes me to grow and expand, but also is something that I know I can do while maintaining my health, maintaining my sanity, and also maintaining the other priorities in my life, because that is a big piece of all of this as well. So when you think about your big goal, like writing a book, for example, imagine chunking it down to writing 1 page a day. Now, here's what happens. A lot of people go, 1 page a day, that is actually still overwhelming. So most people just stop. They go, I can't do it. I haven't hit it in like 3 weeks. Chunk it down to a step that is so small, it seems ridiculous. This is from the book, One Small Step Can Change a Life by Dr. Robert Maurer. Chunk it down to something so small it seems ridiculous until you can build consistency in the habit. So imagine writing 1 line per day, which is actually what I started with when I wrote my book. 1 line per day. It seems so silly, but the main thing, the bigger goal was not about writing 1 line per day until I had a book. It was about 1, overcoming the resistance to starting, which was often the biggest and hardest part, the biggest thing to overcome. And then 2, it was about developing consistency in a habit where I'm a writer, I write every day. So think about for you, what habits, what things you're trying to implement, what goals you're working towards, how can you chunk them down, how can you simplify, how can you bring it to something that you can do every single day and then build up over time and then incrementally grow over the long term so that you can hit more of those goals on the good side of your life authoring activity and mitigate, deal with things from the fear setting and the negative side. So that is your 3rd recommendation. Now, something I struggled with for years, being a person who was not a morning person the way I defined myself until I finally switched that definition, one of the things I struggled with was it seemed like if I started my day on a bad foot, if I started off in a negative mindset or I was overthinking something or I was worried about an argument or this or that my whole day was guided by that I couldn't seem to shake off the funk from the morning. And what I've found is the way that you condition yourself to start your day, the systems, the routines, the things you put in place, how you move your body, how you hydrate, those things are so incredibly important for the rest of your day because you're setting the tone. Even just setting an intention for the day can help you in those tough moments or those decisive moments, as they're called in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, where you go, you know what, today I'm going to make the intention to find the good in even the most challenging moments. And then that moment arrives where you're just about to go to the negative and you go, wait, I set the intention. What was it? And you shift. But that's just a piece of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you in the next video, in tomorrow's video, a faster, better way to have an empowering morning. Because all these things are great. Overcoming fear is great, but when you're at the end of your day, you overcome the fear and you have barely any energy left in the tank to work on the thing, it's still kind of challenging. It's still tough. So, how do you start your day with fire, with fuel, with clarity, and then go on to have not just an empowered day, but a day of service, a day of connection, a day of love, and a day that you're excited to start tomorrow? So many people don't have energy, not because they are not getting enough sleep, they're not getting the right quality of sleep. It's that they don't feel that they have anything to be excited about the next day, so why bother getting up? Now, guys, here's what I've found. One little teaser for tomorrow. Creating the things that are going to bring excitement into your day and into your life, that's not something that just shows up. It is a conscious creation. So if you create those things, all of a sudden the whole game changes, because now you're waking up and going, I can't wait to get out of bed because I'm excited to work on that. And even on the tough days, you go, you know what? I'm getting my butt out of bed because I got important things to do. So if you want to hear some of the best recommendations over years of research and a lot of application and helping clients do this on a faster, better way to get to an empowered morning quickly and in some cases very easily, check out tomorrow's video where I'll be sharing that, because guys, this has been one of my biggest areas of work personally, and I want to help you through it. I want to help you have empowered mornings. I want to help you get up at 5:15 like I did this morning, knock a bunch of stuff out, have a great day at work, record videos, and do the things that you love. So if you're ready for a faster and better way to have an empowered morning, check out tomorrow's video. I will see you guys tomorrow.